everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand. It is the fans forum after Manchester City beat Manchester United 3-0 at the Etihad. In my opinion, a really, really embarrassing performance from Manchester United. Yes, you can highlight certain positives, but realistically, the points record that Ruben Amorim has, and to go away from home, not look like scoring and concede 3 goals in the way we did, really is unacceptable to me. But I'm joined with Kev, Mordzs and Ricky. I mean, I'll start off with you, Mordzs. I mean, you can't dress it up, really. I mean, you can talk about the fact United had some chances. You can talk about the fact we got in some dangerous areas. You can talk about the fact Donnarumma had to make a good save. But realistically, we conceded 3 really poor goals. And there's just nothing to really get excited about, is there?
No, not at all. I mean, like before the obviously game on the countdown, we were trying to be positive, and we were all trying to at least get the vibes up. I mean, even when you look at the past games that we've had against City, we have had good games against City, so you almost feel like what they can do. It's not impossible for United to go and actually win this game, but the way we set up today. And look, we're going to get into each individual player anyway, I'm sure, because we can talk about everyone. But the way we set up, we did not set up in a way where we were ever going to win this game. I don't care what people say. People say, oh, this player should have done this player should have done that. It doesn't matter who you put on that team. We could have had Baleba. We could have had Donnarumma, and we still would have lost the game. Like, it wouldn't have made a difference because of the way we set up, the way we approached this game, it was never going to work. Defensively, we gave City every single thing that they needed to score a goal against us. We let them hold the ball in positions where they absolutely thrive. City thrive with the ball in the opposition's half. That's what they want. They want to commit as many plays as they can in front of the ball, in our half, so they can suffocate us, so then they can overload the ball. They can make these little runs in behind, these 6-man runs, these 3rd-man runs where they're dragging players here and there, and they've got so many creative players that can just play it in behind and do all these kind of things. We allowed them to do that for pretty much the whole game.
We had spells, but it was pretty much all game. The thing is as well, for me, it's like you look at it and that Man City side is not the Man City side of old, yet we made them look like that.
Exactly.
They absolutely dominated us.
Yeah. It's more about Manchester United, doesn't it?
They could have scored 5. And people can say Casemiro should have scored and Bruno should have scored. It's always we should have scored, and we never do.
And even with that, there was a point in the game where I figured that around 60th, 70th minute, and I was like, look, the only way we're going to get a goal is if somebody does something crazy. That's the only way. We're not going to get a goal because it's a nice, well-worked goal, and we've the style of play that we're playing is so good that we've managed to work it into the net. No, we're only going to score a goal if Bruno does a crazy volley or somebody crosses it in from 30 yards and we get a random header or deflects it. That's the only way we were going to score in that game, because nothing that we had, nothing that Amorim set out for this team to do was working. And I feel like that's in my opinion, look, obviously, yes, we're going to talk about the players in a second anyway, but just looking at it from a whole, the way Amorim set up this team to go out into that game, we were set up to lose.
I mean, I agree with you. At first, when I saw the way that we set up and I saw the lineup, I didn't necessarily have much belief in it, but you try and get yourself, up for the game. You try and believe that the manager's made the right decision. And I don't even want to individualise it, because everybody had a part to play, really. I don't think you can put it on any one individual. Some players were better than others, but overall the team was poor. But Kev, I'll come to you next. When you look at it, you have Bruno and Ugarte that were put in there to press, and Bumo, Ahmad, Sesko pressing, but the press is so out of sync that City are just passing it straight round us into a gap where they can just flood players into our midfield, dominate us, pass it round us like no one's there, and the defence really don't have much chance. And it made the defenders look pretty poor, and at times they were poor. But the reason why a lot of blame will go on the defenders, in my opinion, is because just free for all for our midfield.
Yeah, it's like we're almost like a donut, and like in the middle is just empty. The minute I seen the team today, I'm thinking, if Cunha's injured, what a great, in a bad way, I'm thinking, well, Bruno's going to get back in the number 10 role. Put a proper midfielder in that midfield. This is where the battle is going to be won. So in that sense, yeah, I mean, I'm sure Pep would have seen the team sheet today. He'd have been laughing. He'd probably thought, right, that's where the battle's going to be won. And Manchester City, they dominated the midfield. There was absolutely nothing there. That's why, as Maud says, it was set up for failure.
Do you blame Amorim?
Yeah, well, he sets it. Listen, you can go down the route of saying the players, this, that, but give yourself half a chance.
Yeah, I mean,
with the team that you're setting up.
I mean, Ricky, I've got some stats to bring in, and we are going to talk about Amorim, we're going to talk about the team, but Ricky, what are your initial thoughts and feelings coming away from that game? Say you're going home, you're speaking to your son about it, which I know you always do. What are your thoughts and feelings about Amorim, the game, the way we set up? What's your overall consensus coming out of that?
Something that we talk about regularly is us not setting up with enough midfield players, which you've just spoken about. And especially when one of your midfield players is such an attack-minded player like Bruno. This has been going on for years under different managers. So we've got a striker in Sesko, we've got Mbuemo, and we've got Ahmad playing as two number 10s, and then you've got Bruno as a number 6, who obviously likes to get forward. And I'm not going to put this on Bruno's shoulders. I'm really not. There's that many players were off it today. But it is too many attacking players, and especially playing away to one of the top sides. There's too many attacking players. Now I know they've got to work hard, they've got to get back behind the ball, but you're not gonna set yourself up to make yourselves difficult to beat. You've not got enough players behind the ball instantly, and like you've just said, they get through the press, and there's no midfield, so the defenders are right under it, and the number of different things that have been said over the months, and it seems to change by the game. I mean, you've probably heard all of these things. It's been said that the two wing backs have got to get up in support of the midfield players, so we've got 4 midfield players. But if we've got 4 midfield players and then we've got 2 number 10s and a striker, it means we've only got 3 defenders. So when they get through that midfield, they're only against 3 defenders, and most teams play with 4 or 5 defenders away to a big team. We're playing with 3 defenders if the fullbacks are getting up. But another thing that I've heard said, and we've seen this a few times, all the centre-backs, particularly Luke Shaw, to be fair, today, I've heard this said many times, it's up to one of the centre-backs to step into midfield to help. Have we all heard that said? You know what I mean? It's just a shambles.
Well,
it's just a shambles.
Just to move on to that, because I agree with you. I think it is a shambles. I'm just going to do a quick fire on the spot. Is Amorim's system a problem? Yes or no?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree, yes. Is he too stubborn to change it?
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
And I just don't. I've seen people.
It's absolutely madness, right? Because I know he was stubborn and he come in, but this thing last season, and fair enough, he come in. What was it before, like the Christmas or whatever?
Ipswich game. It was November, weren't it? His first game, 22nd November.
So he comes out, doesn't he? And he's like, "We must suffer. We will suffer." We're suffering every week, every single week. How long's it got to go on? He's been given over 200 odd million. He's spent. He's invested. He's brought the players in that he wanted to. For me, the honeymoon period is over. Like this season now. This is where I'm judging him.
Never started.
And we're still. He's not won back-to-back Premier League games.
Well, this is what I wanted to go into. It's like, where do you actually draw the line? I think every single one of us wants the manager to work, wants us to do really well.
Desperately.
Yeah.
But you've got to look at the cold, hard truth of the matter. He came in the facts. He came in on the 22nd of November last year. So we're just before 2 months away from it being a year, right? So about 10 months at the club. 10 months at the club. He's not won 2 games in a row. He's got 8 wins out of 31 Premier League games, 4 of them against newly promoted sides. And then if you actually look at a Premier League table, if you did a Premier League table from Ruben Amorim's first game in charge of Man United, no ever-present Premier League team have performed worse than Man United. So a team that stayed in the Premier League, not a relegated team or not a team that's been promoted. 31 points from 31 games, a minus 13 goal difference, bottom, 17th. Out of a non-relegated Premier League table since he came in. Like, we're Manchester United at the end of the day. I understand sticking with the project. I understand, having some patience. But you've got to start getting some points on the board, and you've got to show something. You can talk, he's spoken on his interview how you've got to be perfect in this sort of game. You can avoid the 3 goals. Every single week there's a new excuse. Every single week there's a new excuse. You could tell, if you watch that game, you could bring an alien down from Earth and you could ask him, what do you think about that game? There was only ever one winner. City didn't even look like they got out of third gear.
100%. And I think we said there's facts about there is a line. Like, I understand, and I think we all understand as well, that we do want to go with the whole mentality of give a manager time. I think we all agree that you have to give some kind of time to a new manager, regardless of what club or team that they go into. That is a factor that you need to put into helping them succeed. However, there is a line though. There is a line where it's like, okay, we've crossed the line of we're giving you time. Now it's like, okay, now you're just taking, I don't want to say, you know what I mean? But now you've gone too far now. Now it's to the point where we're losing so much that like you said, the Premier League 11 of teams, we are last. We are the worst. Man United don't have to be the worst team before things get better. I understand, yes, the storm is coming and the storm is here. It's very well here. It's been here for a very long time. It doesn't seem to be leaving though. Like, there's no such thing. But I'm looking at, I'm saying, you know what? If this changes here and if this changes here, then we'll be back. I can't see that. I can't see that. And look, I feel like that when it comes to managers, and I'm talking about like the top managers, I was having a conversation with my friends actually about this. There's two types of winning that I feel like you need to be good at. There's the first type of winning where it's you play good enough football that you can kind of just outplay every team you play. So like someone like Arsenal, Arteta and Arsenal play such a good style of football. They can beat most teams because the way they play is just great. It's nice, fluid. They can work goals. They can defend very well. Even if certain players get injured, they can still manage to play the same style of football and it will work. The second kind of winning is when you can win without being the favourite to win. And there's certain managers like Jose Mourinho, he's won without people expecting him to be able to do that. Amorim can't do either of them. He can't win when his back's against the wall, like in the final of the Europa League, like in how many cups that he's lost, and he can't win through playing good football. So at what point do we look at it and say, what are we trusting him for? Like what is the whole mentality of, okay, Amorim can do this for us, he's proven that he can do this. What has he proven so far to say, you know what, he can get us over the line? There's Arsenal fans saying they want to get Arteta out. We're not even at that point where we can even finish second.
That's ridiculous, by the way.
There's Arsenal fans, we all know Arsenal fans out there.
I don't listen to people that say they want Arteta.
Okay, but we don't have to believe them, but there are Arsenal fans, legit Arsenal fans that are out there saying Arteta can't get us over the line. There are legit fans that are saying that. I've heard Real Madrid fans say that they don't like Ancelotti. That's why they didn't want him to be there. There's Barcelona fans that said they didn't like Xavi. These managers were never this bad. Never. Nuno got sacked from Forest. Was he ever this bad?
But they fell out with the owner.
Okay, fair enough, but there's loads of managers that were not this bad and have been sacked. Loads of managers. Like I'm talking about countless managers for smaller clubs that have been sacked for doing way better than what Amorim is doing. We're expecting Amorim to get to level 1 and then we're going to be like, okay, well done, he can win back-to-back games. How do we expect him to get us to a Premier League title if he can't get to level 1? We've not even seen him win the bare minimum yet. So that's why for me, that's like
back-to-back games.
That's why I don't understand like this whole thing of, oh, but if he just does A, B, and C, we'll be back. That's like the absolute, like, that's level 1 of what we need for a manager for Man United. How do we even know that you can go and win 3 games in a row now?
I agree with that point. I agree with that point because if you look at it, if you just look at purely the footballing side of things, there is nothing that you can really hold on to. There's the off-the-pitch stuff that I think people like, you know, the handling of some of the players that maybe, you know, didn't have the best attitudes or didn't behave in the way that you would want Manchester United players to behave in. And there's the way he talks in press conferences and interviews. But actually on the pitch, there's nothing really to hold on to. I mean, we're going to talk about certain decisions to, you know, play certain players and not play others. We're going to get people's comments in from the chat, and he's also, you know, done his presser, and there's some really intriguing quotes coming out of there. But first of all, let me just get in some super chats from you guys. Make sure you get your comments in, by the way, as well. We really want an interactive show here. Jake M says, criticism is 100% right, but why today after losing to City was always going to be tough? Why weren't you saying it when we lost to Grimsby or even Spurs? I mean, Mordzs has been speaking about this for a while, and you know, sometimes it comes to a point where enough is enough. Paul B said, when he came, he said, I only know one way to play, and you all loved it. Now say it slowly and think. A Manchester United manager telling you he doesn't understand any other ways to play football. He told you how bad he was. Should have listened. Warren Moore says, everyone in the studio agreed Amorim's system is a problem. 5 minutes ago, Mark said blaming the system is low IQ. Oh, well, everyone's got different opinions, but that's what we think. JB Sahar says, Ruben Amorim said he won't change, might as well sack him. And Davari says, forget the system, what manager in their right mind plays the same way every single game? It is, And you've got to start thinking about it as well. How many managers have come out post-match and said, we knew how to get in Manchester United, we knew how vulnerable their midfield was.
He will. A footballer, and not even a manager, he's a footballer. He's nowhere near a coach.
We knew we could get behind their midfield too.
Yeah, cause them a problem.
The main reason is that there's only two of them. I want to bring something else in here, and I've mentioned this before, and I know we didn't play against great teams, but when Van Nistelrooy had 4 games, he played Ugarte and Casemiro in every single game. And I believe if we're only going to play with 2 number 6s, we need them both to stay back. You know, if your wing backs are pushing on and trying, and Dorgu got behind plenty of times today or into fairly dangerous positions, if we're going to have our wing backs pushing on, we need 3 centre backs and we need 2 players just in front, and we don't need one of them keep running up into the box. Now, where that leaves us is there's too many. The manager's the same as the fans. There's too many players, fans and manager worrying about how do I fit this player. You probably know who I'm thinking of, but it's not just one player. How do I fit this player in the team? How do I fit that player in the team? If we're going to play with a back 3, I believe Casemiro and Ugarte have got to play, and then argue amongst yourselves who your number 10s have got to be. Because I'm not going to. He's not going to change his system. So I'm talking about his system. In his system, we need 2 number 6s who are going to play as number 6s, just in front of the back 3, and then you lot can pick the forwards.
We're heavily stacked anyway in that department, aren't we?
Mark just put in the content group chat that anyone who thinks you need to change the system are thick. So we're all thick, everyone.
Thank you.
Why is it thick?
It just doesn't make sense. Like, why can't people?
You should call in and tell us.
Why can't we just accept that like what we're seeing isn't working? Like, is it that bad to say that like what we're trying to do isn't working? Is that such a crazy thing to say? Like,
it's a definition of insanity, isn't it? Trying the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. It's you know, 8 times out of 10, it's not.
It can't just keep being the players over and over and over again, especially when near enough every single player that leaves us goes on and does better.
Like, you know what, sorry, I just want to say, I'm going to keep going on. I don't even,
you preach.
I don't even mind, look, I don't even mind people saying that we don't have a Premier League winning side. I don't mind that. Because I don't think we do either.
No, we're not.
You know, I don't think we have a top 4 side. I don't even know if we have a top 6 side. I don't even mind that, but we don't have a 17th place side. That's my problem. My problem isn't the fact that Amorim's not winning the league. I don't expect him to do that. I don't even expect him to get top 4, but he shouldn't be 17th. That's the thing. That's the problem. He shouldn't. I don't know where we are right now. Actually.
14th now, I think.
I think we're 14th now, innit? But like
15th last season.
It's an improvement on last season.
Yeah, fair enough. We're 14th or 15th, innit? Cool.
Can I just pop this in? What I mentioned earlier, by the way. We are 14th, and I know teams have luck. I mean, I know Liverpool got an injury time penalty today. We're so lucky we got that injury time penalty last week. Without that injury time penalty against Burnley, we'd be on 2 points now and in the bottom 3.
Yeah.
And I know teams have both good luck and bad luck, but that is proper lucky for us that we got that penalty. We'd be in a right mess otherwise. So, you know, bottom 3 after 4 games.
Yeah.
That's where we'd be.
Well, let's. I'm going to move on and talk a little bit about the midfield and maybe how we would change the way that Amorim's setting up. But I want to bring in some Amorim quotes and I want to bring in some more of your super chats. Victor Mario says, if Manu does not suit your system is crap.
That's not a bad shout.
Kobe Howell says, did the 4-3-3 work either? Sacked every other manager. Question Pondon says, Ollie always played Maguire, Bruno. Ollie set his team up in one way. Ollie shoehorned Pogba and Bruno in. Ollie's substitutions, though, at least made sense. This guy is Ollie 0.9. Master Zambia says system has failed, Amorim stubborn and midfield is outnumbered. Liam says no difference between his first game to today. Naveen says the problem with the system is he needs to get rid of his Bruno fetish and play Manu. He's simply not good enough to be a 6 and he's not fast enough for a 10. Big Shot Yomi says Amorim out, you can't play Bruno in centre mid. Lee Bickerton says he beat City in the Champions League with this formation.
In the FA Cup, does he mean?
He means with Sporting.
Sorry, with Sporting.
It's a completely different. It is a completely different situation.
Can I just say, you get too excited or whatever the opposite is to excited when it goes badly. He did beat City, but football, that's what football's about, what football's like. They could probably play City 20 times in that formation and only beat them once. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah. So it happened on that night. Yeah. Don't think that that's going to happen every time they play City. It just happened to happen for them on that occasion. Didn't City miss a penalty in that game while they were 1-0 up? I think they did. Do you know what I mean? The games change on certain points. if anybody can check that. I'm sure City missed the penalty. They'd have gone
it
two.
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, but people saying that he beat City with this formation, it's just a one-off game.
And he's lost.
It's just a one-off game. If he played him 10 times, he'd probably lose 8, win 1 and draw 1.
And he's lost 23 Premier League games. He's lost 23 Premier League games with this formation as well for Man United. I mean, I really want to come on this point quickly. Delon Nunes with a super chat saying, agree with Mark, it's not the manager or the system, there are too many average players. Every manager makes mistakes but don't get punished the way we do.
Well, if we've got too many average players, he's already bought half the players, hasn't he?
Delon, that's why I wanted to come back on this, is with too many average players, this has been the same line that's been trotted out, manager after manager, the players aren't good enough, the players aren't good enough, the players aren't good enough. We've got international players playing for our team. You know, who's not good enough then? Go through it. We've just bought Sesko, is he not good enough? Cunha was near enough in Team of the Year last year. I know he didn't play today, but is he not good enough? Mbeumo, near enough Team of the Year last year, if it weren't for Mo Salah being an absolute monster. Is he not good enough? Bruno Fernandes, you know, people say he's been one of the best midfielders in the Premier League over the last, 5, 6, 7 years. Is he not good enough? You know, you go forward, Casemiro didn't play today, but, people have been speaking of that. He's had a good start to the season. What he's done at Real Madrid. Ugarte, okay, that is questionable. I don't think he's good enough to play at this level either. But the manager picked him over Kobbie Mainoo, who started for England in a Euros final and beat this City team through a man of the match performance in an FA Cup final. Is he not good enough? He can't even get on the pitch until the second half. Mazraoui, everyone's singing his praises. Is he not good enough?
Everybody's got the fans.
Euro generational centre-back, is he not good enough? De Ligt, who everyone says is underrated and has won a title everywhere he's been, is he not good enough?
Thousands of people love nearly all the players.
Who's not good enough? Please tell me. The keeper, fair enough. The keeper is not good enough in the slightest. Ugarte is questionable. But the manager chose not to put in his new keeper. He chose to start Ugarte. I'm not having this players aren't good enough. He should be doing better. The projections are, since Amorim came in, is that we would be bottom of the Premier League sides. They're not relegated or not newly promoted. You're telling me this squad isn't good enough to be higher than 17th out the rest of these Premier League teams? Is that what you're telling me? Because it is. We should not be in the bottom half of the table, no matter what, with that squad. Like Mord says, we're not Premier League winners. We might not even be contenders for Champions League, but we're not this bad. We're just not, anyway. Yeah, that frustrates me.
On the team, there's a fine line where you can say it's on the players, it's on the manager, whatever angle you want to take. Amorim is consistently picking Bruno in this midfield role, so that is on him. I'm sure he can stand on the sideline today when he's ball watching and Phil Foden scores the header and look and go, Bruno, why didn't you track him? But if we can see from the stands, and we're watching these games, and we're not the only people that are saying it, everybody's saying it, that he's not disciplined enough to play that role. If a Mainoo was in there today, maybe he's a bit more switched on and he tracks Phil Foden, cuts out, that header. I know it's all ifs and maybes or whatever, but at the end of the day, the manager picks the team, and he has to live and die by the decisions that he's making.
Yeah, I 100% agree with what you're both saying, but I'd even go one step further. I think he's making these players look worse. I think these players would actually look better if he wasn't a manager. I think if this team was with anybody else...
that's more or less what you're saying. Because if we was playing 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1 under a different manager, I'm pretty sure we'd be higher up the same.
He's got the worst Premier League record out of any manager we've had.
Yeah, exactly. So, I genuinely feel like, I even go another step further. If we had no manager, I think this team could go out by themselves and play better football. I'm not even just saying that to try and take the piss. I feel like genuinely, if you said to these guys, go out and play in your best position, someone's
got to pick the 11.
Okay, fair enough. We can get Johnny Evans or someone to pick it. Someone who's in the back here, Tom Heaton to pick it. But if you tell them to go out and play in your preferred position and play the style of football that you guys know is your best style of football, I'm backing they would all go out and play 100 times better. Most of the plays that you just mentioned have all got worse. I couldn't name a play that's genuinely got better other than a play that we didn't see before. You could say Euro's playing all right. We didn't see Euro before Amorim. You could say De Ligt. We didn't see him that much. We didn't see him before. You can say who also been one of our better players.
Casemiro's improved.
I don't think Casemiro's better than his first season on the Ten Hag, was he? Or he definitely wasn't better when he was before United.
A bit better than last season.
Yeah.
Slightly better in the first 3-4 games, you can say, but it was not really a huge improvement on the Amorim, and you can't tell me that it's because of Amorim's system anyway. That Casemiro's got better. Nearly every single player. I look at Manu, I look at Bruno, I look at Ugarte, I look at Ahmad, I look at Dalot, I look at who else? Both of the goalkeeper's bad anyway, but they even look even worse. I look at even the striker, Sesko. He doesn't look like the striker that we've been seeing from before he came to United. You could say maybe on Boomer looks a little bit better, but again, he was 10 times the player he was last season at Brentford. He looked like an absolute dangerous player. Today, he looked like, I don't even know what he looked like today. So most of the players that we actually see in this team that are average players, they look even more average because of what they're being asked to do.
Well, I found this a very interesting point to bring in, and it was from the Tacticology on Twitter, so I just wanted to bring it in at this point of the show. He said, there's a tendency for Amorim to say a player needs to improve whenever the player is not a perfect fit for his system. They need to improve actually means they need to learn what I want and develop these traits and inclinations that fit that, whilst also forgetting the other good ones that they have. Cunha and Mbeumo were not told they need to improve because they fit the manager's system and intent perfectly. Ahmad, Manu, Sesko, Rashford don't, etc. So they were politely told they need to improve. Improve not in the general sense, but in a highly specific way of his game model. I think to some degree, or even a substantial degree, of adaptation to the manager's intent is reasonable and necessary, and some players won't be able to make it. But if you're being too rigid, you run the risk of not platforming your players in the best possible way. These minutes add up until the whole unit is dysfunctional, which makes the system less likely to work. Perfect can be the enemy of good. And I think that's true. It feels like a player has to be a perfect, exact fit for what he wants, but that's just not possible, I don't think, in football. Like, it's just not.
I saw, I think it was one of the Sky Sports guys, and maybe Thierry Henry or Jamie Carragher, one of them guys, doing like an analysis of one of United's games, innit? And they were pretty much saying that, like, for United to score a well-worked goal, like you said, everything has to be perfect. Every touch, every pass, every like angle that they're passing it in, every bit of space that they're in has to be like inch perfect for it to work. If not, we lose a ball and we're probably going to concede. That is not reliable, consistent football. No team plays like that and wins every single game. It's not possible. You're going to play against teams that are just going to, like today, half of our goals kind of came from mistakes almost, and you're going to blame the players, but the mistakes come from the way I was set up. It's not, like I said, a reliable form of football, a risk-free form of football where we can make mistakes but be able to recover. We couldn't recover from any of our mistakes today. That Haaland, was it the third goal? Where I think Luke Shaw lost it.
Halfway line.
That was 1,000,000%. In fact, I know Pep was probably thinking to himself, all it takes is for one of their players to lose a ball.
Little error.
And he knew straight away Haaland's going to be through on goal, and that's exactly what happened. I think Luke Shaw's when he lost it, I think Maguire tried to play like another pass, and Haaland got it, and it was just through on goal. The most simplest style of football, play of football, and we're the ones who were chasing the goal at that point, and they had the easiest opportunity to score. It's not a reliable form of football if you have to have every single player do everything perfect, be specialists in each position for it to work.
Can I just say as well, we were talking about Kobe Manu before the game on the build-up, and we were talking about, like you've just spoken about the manager pointing out some of his deficiencies in the media, which I don't like. I really don't like that. I said it before the game. Can I just say, Kobe Manu came on that field for half an hour. He looked like Johan Cruyff compared to the rest of our players.
Agree.
Do you know what I mean? Stop it. Just stop it.
You can't come out here and tell me that
doesn't
he's
matter what
not good
position he's
enough.
playing.
I don't care about pace. He's better than everybody else in there. I don't care about
He just
the
leaves
pace.
people behind, and he's just so silky, and he sees the pass, and then look, he's going to get the odd thing wrong. Nobody doesn't get the odd thing wrong, but he just looks a different level again. It's like it was like he could have been playing for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let me even say this. I'm going to keep ranting the show because look, Kobe Manu.
Kev's just like waiting to say something.
No, I'm sorry, Kev.
No, you go for it, mate.
I asked before the show, can I speak in it? And everyone said I can speak today, and I've not been speaking properly in it. But let's see with Kobe Manu, yeah. And again, my thing with Kobe Manu isn't even that I think he's the best midfielder in the world. No one's ever said that. No one's ever been saying to Kobe Manu, he's this, he's that, da-da-da-da. The reality is, the reason why people have been shouting for Kobe Manu to start is because the players that are starting above him are not good enough. we're watching players play for Man United and watching Kobe sit on the bench and we look terrible. Like that's my problem. I'm watching Ugarte on the pitch. I don't even want to get onto him too much because I can't even be bothered. We'll be here all day. But he did not. He probably couldn't even lace Kobe's boots. Ugarte probably watches Kobe in training and looks up to him because of how much better he is. There's so many. Let me not get onto Ugarte, yeah. But I just think Kobe Mainoo playing in that pitch, like Ricky said in it, when he came on, he genuinely looked like our best player. In fact, he might have been our best player for that little, what was it?
He was easily the best player in
20, 30 minutes.
Easily.
And Amorim's coming out talking about he needs pace.
We just need better players.
What is the pace that I'm seeing on that game?
Yeah,
that
who's
saves
faster
us?
than him?
Like what? I don't get.
And he brings him on at 3-0.
Yeah, like he brings him on.
3-0 down. All right, Kobe, you're coming on.
And even like in the Burnley game, how many times have we seen Kobe Mainoo be brought on in these dire situations where we're losing and it's like we're trying to force a goal, we stuck Maguire up front and the team's sitting back and all of a sudden it's like, oh, like there you go, Kobe, that's 30 minutes, go and do something. What do you want him to do? Save the day. Like you can't do that every single game. We did it against Lyon, we got lucky, but you can't do that every single game. He brought him on in the Burnley game and it was a difficult situation. I can't remember if we were losing or not, but we were in a difficult situation and we just expected Kobe Mainoo to come on and have a great game, and Mount and Cunha both got injured and the whole pace of the game switched up and we were confused as to why the game looked slower.
The manager's, can I just
stuck
say,
him in a terrible position.
Can I just say, I want to say this because you've just reminded me and I might forget.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he knows what his best team is.
He doesn't.
Because he's got players in today and like Cunha. Look, I don't want to start getting on a new player's back, but Cunha, he's not set the world alight to me.
Cunha's been good.
He hasn't.
Cunha's been good, Ricky.
Okay, we'll come and watch it again. Let's watch the Burnley game
Cunha's
instead of the
been
City
good.
game.
Cunha's
He
been
hasn't.
good. He has.
He hasn't. He runs with the ball a lot. He tries to get shots in. He needs to calm down a bit and pass it more. I'll show you a few instances.
He's an overall good football player, though.
He is an overall good player. But my point. Let me come back to this point then. Where I've just said, and you can argue against it, and you know, I will accept if you might want to say, well, you can play Mainoo there, but I've just said that if we're going to only play with a back three, we need two number sixes who want to stay at number 6. And as good as Mainoo is, we don't want him to stay at number 6, do we? We want him to get forward. Do you understand what I mean? We don't want him to stay.
He can be a really good 8.
Role. So if you are going to do that, if you're going to accept that you need 2 proper number 6s in front of your back 3, the only 2 proper number 6s we've got who will stick to the role. I'm not saying they're the best players in the world, but you've got to be there. That's the most important thing, being there. There's just a big bleeding hole there. So if we were to put Ugarte and Casemiro as the 2 number 6s, I'm only talking with the manager's formation. So then, who are your 2 number 10s going to be? If I said to you, Kobe Mainoo or Cunha, who are you going to pick? I imagine Mbuemo's going to be one. Some might want Bruno there.
This is why the system and the formation doesn't work. It doesn't.
Do you know what I mean?
Simple as.
The fact, this is what we should be doing. We should be playing Seni Larman's in goal. Cannot get worse than Binder. It just cannot. You should be playing a back 4. We can pick that another time. You should be playing a midfield 3, currently based on what we have, of Bruno, Casemiro, and Mainoo.
Beth. Why Bruno?
Because...
Why Bruno?
Just let me do what I would do.
No, but please, Beth, why? Tell me why, Bruno. Tell me why. Why does it have to be Bruno?
Because Bruno is a better football player than Ugarte.
What, than Mainoo?
I'm playing Mainoo. I'm playing Mainoo, Casemiro and Bruno in my midfield 3. And then I'm playing my front 3 of Sesko and Mbuemo and Cunha. And Sesko...
Got to see a lot more of Sesko.
Yeah, exactly. Sesko's not nailed on, I tell you that. But you've got to give the guy a chance. He's our new striker.
So
do you know
no
what I mean?
Ahmad?
Not currently, but if Sesko doesn't pull up his socks and get better, then you might have a fluid front 3 of Mbuemo, Ahmad and Cunha.
Well, if we actually had a manager who wanted to play a normal formation at the start of the season, we wouldn't have bought 2 10s and Ahmad could have put a player in his preferred position and been a better player.
And Mbuemo and Cunha are both good signings, no matter what system you play.
The reality is, I actually like both of the players. I'm not even going to say anything bad about them. I like Cunha and Mbuemo. I don't think...
Not seen enough of Cunha.
I like Cunha. I think he's the top quality.
I do like them, but I think he's created a headache for himself because Ricky said that, about shoehorning. That's where we are with Bruno now. I prefer him as a 10. But if you're going to spend, nearly... How much was Cunha and Mbuemo?
Well, exactly.
You've got and bought 2 players there that really you should be playing them.
It's one thing, Beth, it's one thing you saying we should be playing with a 3, but we're not playing with a 3.
No, I know.
We're not.
I know.
Right, so would you pick Bruno as one of your 2 sixes?
No.
And okay, are you now going to pick him as a 10, ahead of Ahmad, ahead of Cunha, ahead of Mbeumo, ahead of Kobe Mainoo?
I'm playing Ahmad right wing back, so
Okay.
Ahmad's not a 10. I'm playing Mbeumo, absolutely definitely. Cunha and Bruno would have to either fight for that 10 spot, or Sesko drops out and you play a fluid front 3 of Bruno and Mbeumo and Cunha kind of dropping in. I don't want to do that. I don't want to, but that's the way that I think Amorim should judge it. Whoever's better. So you basically, Bruno, Cunha and Sesko are all fighting for a position, because for me, Mbeumo's our biggest goal threat. He wasn't completely on it today. It was probably one of the worst games I've seen from him in a long time, even in a Brentford shirt. But he still is our biggest goal threat. Cunha and Bruno are quite similar, I think. A little bit different, but I think Cunha eventually obviously will probably take over that Bruno Fernandes-esque role. And with Sesko, he needs to show more. I know it's early days, but you want him to work, but they've got to kind of fire out.
Forgot about Mount.
Yeah, Mount is in that, but this is the issue,
is
Amorim doesn't know his best team, and this is why, I know we're not going to, but this is why, in my opinion, we should be playing a 4-3-3. It's more balanced. You can put players in their best positions. You could even play Mount in a 3-man midfield.
Yeah, I agree with that. But that's
you know
not,
what I mean?
It's not, I agree, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen.
Well, it might do very soon if Amorim doesn't get some results.
If it might get somebody else in. But from what I've seen of Kobe Mainoo today, I mean, you could say this about a few others, but he's got to play for me. He's got to play.
Has to. It's just, it's not even like, it's that raw ability. There was one point where he must have like put it through someone's legs, like he's dribbled past like a couple of players, and he's running towards a goal and he's played it out wide to Dorgu. And I just thought to myself, one, the guy wouldn't have been able to do that. Just didn't have the technical ability to do it. Two, Bruno might have shot or played it first time and it wouldn't have been the right pass. But I just thought that ability to be able to do that in that part of the game with City pretty much all over us. They had more players in the midfield. We were outnumbered for the whole game in that midfield. I just thought this is quality that you need on the pitch. And look, I don't even think Kobe, like I said before at the start of the show, I don't think even if he started, we would have won the game. I don't think that, because I think the way we set up,
City were too good for us today.
Yeah, I think the way we set up, we were going to lose regardless. But the point I'm just trying to make is, like, he has qualities that other players in the midfield don't have, and that's why I think he should be playing over the players that we're playing right now. If we were to have two midfielders who are both better than Kobe Mainoo, that's fine. In fact, I'd actually prefer that, because that means we can give him a bit more time to at least develop, learn underneath players that are better than him, and then he can obviously become a better player because he's looking up to something that's actually good. But the fact that we don't have that and he's still sitting on the bench, that is what doesn't make sense to me.
I just can't go over 31 points in 31 games. Just can't get past it. I mean, we'll read some of Super Chats out and some of Amorim's quotes, but I do want to talk about maybe, how long do you actually let it go on for? Like, how
The alarm bells have to be ringing.
Yeah.
I'm not being reactionary to a result, but any top club, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, they're the kind of level, elite level clubs that United are in. Even Ten Hag lasted, 2 games at Leverkusen. I don't know what happened behind closed doors there, but what I'm saying is, these clubs make decisions, and I'm not for 1 minute suggesting this evening sack the manager. I'm sure in the chat there'll be loads of people saying, these lot are toxic and that, but there has to be a debate, about where we are going under this manager, because the United Strand at this stage, I dread to think what he's going to be. When are we going to win 5 games in a row? Do you know what I mean? Your man who's growing his hair, and it's. But you have to have the conversation of, where are we going at this moment in time? Ineos were very quick to bring him in. He was very quick to say that he's going to play this system. He's not going to change it. So they knew this when they brought him in. He's going to continue to do it, but the stats don't lie. Look at where we are in the league. We've not won back-to-back games. Is anybody else worried? You should be.
7 Premier League away games without a win now as well.
And I get it, the trend of what we've had while we've been on the United Stand, the amount of managers we've seen come and go, that it's that fear of, change and another process and it changing. But for me, if Amorim did walk or was sacked, I think this will be the biggest reset that we have had, because of the players that he's brought in to play this system. Because what other manager would come in now and be, and try to adapt to the players that he's got?
I mean, we can talk about that And
I just think it'll be really, really difficult, and not many players play this.
The only wingers we've got is Bruno and Ahmad, and they both play on the right hand side. But then you can have, like, for example, you look at Arsenal and you have Eze playing on the left, and he's not exactly. I mean, he's a winger. He can play as a 10 as well, but he's more of that creative type winger like Acuna is. Do you know what I mean? So you can play a midfield, like a winger / midfielder kind of combined together on one of the flanks. You've got a striker who can play up front. You've got a midfield that can play in midfield 3, and you have Mbeumo and Ahmad who can both play as a right winger. You've got full-backs that can play as left-back and right-back. You've got centre-backs that can play in a back 4. So there is scope to bring a different manager in, and Ineos are going to have to look to do it if things don't improve. They'll literally have to. But we're hoping things will improve before that measure is taken, but it's got to happen quickly. Just to read out some of the stuff that Ruben Amorim said. He said, "I won't change my philosophy. If Ineos want it changed, then you change the man."
What, said that today?
Yeah.
Wow.
So basically he said he'd be sacked before he changes his formation or system. So it's either Amorim gone or you stick with this formation and system. That's what it is. He said, "We're doing better, but the results don't show it. I remember with my former club Sporting, we beat City 4-1 without having the same control or opportunities as I did today."
Right, for him mentioning that, I'm sorry to bang on about this, because I know you brushed it off, Beth, and said, it doesn't matter. There's so much luck involved in the game of football. City missed a penalty while they were 1-0 up. They would have beaten them if they'd have just scored that penalty. Football rests on so many tiny little things, what seemed like tiny things at the time, but they can be massive. And if they played City 10 times, they'd only beat them once, twice at the most. It just happened to happen for him. That's football. I know this is the United States.
I was going to say, that's a good plug,
but that's football. Do you know what I mean?
It's like saying,
sometimes you win a game. We beat City in the cup final, didn't we? If we play them in another 9 cup finals, we won't beat them again.
That doesn't mean we're better than them.
What do you think of this quote? And get in the comments as well what you think. I'm about to go to your super chats now. Ruben Amorim on winning 8 out of 31 Prem games in charge. "It is not a record we should have at Manchester United. There are a lot of things that you have no idea what have happened in these months, but I'm not going to change." What do you think about that? What do you think he's referring to there?
It's just like smoke and mirrors, isn't it? It seems like, unless you're actually going to be honest enough to tell us what it is. And in fairness, Mourinho said similar things when he was at United, didn't he? And Louis van Gaal all said if you knew what was going on behind the scenes,
Sounds like a black excuse to me.
But yeah, well, Mourinho said
money
it.
To spend. He's got enough players of his own choice. Well, I think the players of his own choice. Unless he's going to say that.
Unless he's actually going to tell us. Well, that could be it. But if you're not happy and the way that things are going at the minute, come out and say it. What a statement to make if you're going to come out and say, actually, Seshko, the club brought him in, but I didn't actually want him. If it's going to be along them lines or...
My thing is, cool, I actually understand that point, but I genuinely cannot think of an excuse that you could give that would make me think, okay, fair enough. There's not one thing I can think to myself,
because you've got to put your team out better. You've got to get square pegs in square holes. You've got to get the formation right. You've got to make yourselves difficult to beat. And we're not a club that should be where we are, but we are a team who deserve to be where we are. And we need to realise we've got to knuckle down, get ourselves set into a good shape, which you mentioned at one point during the game. But we need to set ourselves to be difficult to beat. That's what we've got to do. We've got Chelsea at Old Trafford next week. I hate saying this for the game at Old Trafford. I'd take a point now.
I know.
I'd take a point
the standards
now.
of this club, honestly.
Ruben Amorim has the worst win percentage of any Man United manager since the Second World War, with 36.17%. 36.17. The top 3 was Ferguson, Mourinho and Ten Hag, funnily enough.
And that's why I'm saying we have to be debating this. I know there'll be people there going, "Oh, this lot, Amorim in, out." It's not even that. We are. You've just said the stats. When you're processing this in your head now and you're taking it on board, you are literally. Mordzs is laughing here, man. The guy is literally like losing the plot. If you don't laugh, you cry. But you do have to question it and say, what other club would be putting up with this?
What are we actually doing?
Ruben Amorim got asked about the midfield and he said, "I understand how football is and the results dictate the narrative. Did you think we were the better team against Arsenal? they had Odegaard, Rice and Zubimendi. I see it that way. I know it's hard for people. The fans do not want to hear these things. I don't lie to myself. I see the record and I accept any decision that comes with that. So he's basically saying, you're questioning my midfield now, but we were the better team against Arsenal and they have Rice, Zubimendi and Odegaard. It's just...
He's mentioned that, has he?
Yeah.
He's talking like a fan, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's actually talking.
We played all right against Arsenal, but at the end of the day, we got beat 1-0. Do you know what I mean? There is no such thing as a good 1-0 defeat. Who has ever said that? You're going, bloody hell, we played well there today. You know, the lads were unlucky. Well, I'm sure they would have put that on the social media and all that nonsense at the end of the game, like, but... Not the result we wanted, but we move again. I
do wonder what he sees in playing Bruno in that midfield role, because obviously I'm not just purely blaming Bruno. He's done some, I know you don't agree, Ricky, but he's done some brilliant things for this club over his time at the club, and I think if you put him further forward in the team, he can be a really good player for you, and has been a really good player for you. But in that pivot, he's gave it away countless times. He's not had the same effect on games that he has done in the past. Today, he lost his runner in Phil Foden, which opened the scoring. I mean, there was other defensive mistakes as well, but he lost his runner. Against Fulham, he lost his runner. I wonder why he keeps persisting with it.
Bit of a funny situation, this, with you criticising Bruno there, and I'm going to defend him a little bit. Because losing your runner, and I know it's happened twice, I get that.
It happens a lot.
I know, but they scored a goal today partly because he lost his runner, but like Doku did brilliantly. Well, no matter what anybody says, I know he skinned Luke Shaw, but it was brilliant, and Doku's a really difficult opponent when he's dribbling the ball. He goes past Luke Shaw, he tries to cross it, it gets blocked, I think, by De Ligt. Or was it Ugarte? Yeah. It goes straight back to him, and he just flicks it into the middle. And
Bruno's ball watching.
He is ball watching,
big time.
But when that ball flashes back suddenly from a position like 3 or 4 yards from the dead ball line, and Foden's only about 8 yards from goal when he heads it, he's running in on goal.
Gambling.
And that's always going to favour a striker. And nine times out of 10, you see, you're picking on Bruno because he didn't go with his man, but 9 times out of 10, he could do that. Like I've just spoken about the Portuguese team beating City. They'd only beaten 1 in 10.
Yeah.
So what happens there, Bruno can leave his man another 9 times and he won't score. But when they do score, it's... do you know what I mean?
He's done it before, and we've got away with it, though.
But what I'm trying to say, Beth, it happens all the time. Forwards are hungry and greedy to get in on and get close to the goal and try and score. And defenders... Well, Bruno's not a defender. Top defenders are just as determined to stay in front of the strikers, but it doesn't happen as much as you think.
That's what I wanted to say to you. So he's playing Bruno in a midfield pivot where he has a lot of defensive responsibilities, and his first inclination is not to make them defensive runs. He's looking forward a lot of the time. He wants to, but it's not his instinct. If you have someone like, you know, a Casemiro there, or I'm just naming like a predominantly centre defensive midfielder, they have more of an instinct to do that because they've done it across the whole career. Yeah. Whereas he's obviously you still have to defend when you're playing in the midfield no matter what, but his first thought isn't that. Do you know what I mean?
I do agree with you, but you've got to break it down and break it down and break it down. If you're playing with a back 5 and 4 midfield players and 1 striker and you're all moving across like that, or if you've got Ugarte and Casemiro instead of Bruno and who did we have today? Bruno. But if you've got 2 players who just want to be there, listen to this, Beth. Seriously,
I'm listening.
If you just want to be there. Maybe they don't even get the ball to Dorgu. It's about your format and how you stand strong and how you stay together and how you keep the gaps closed. Maybe they don't even get the ball to Dorgu. And then it's not about, what's he called? Doku. Maybe they don't even get the ball to him because maybe Ugarte or Casemiro's a bit closer to him. And they're blocking that. You need people blocking aisles, blocking, through balls. So you need to set yourselves up, and maybe we don't end up in that situation, and you haven't got to track him then.
Yeah, no, I think he's right.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
This is what I was saying at the start of the show about how we allow City to play their game. City's game is literally stand in between the lines, in between the players, in them channels, and because they've got players like Foden, they've got players like Bernardo Silva, players like Doku, players like Haaland, players like Rodri, all these guys, Ryan, these guys are very good at football, like very, very good at football. It's second nature to them to play in between those little, Ricky said, those little channels, those little aisles, where someone like Doku, if he picks up the ball on the edge of the box, it is a big problem. regardless of where he is, it's a big problem. So what you should be doing, and this is what Tottenham did, and we spoke about on the build-up show about how Tottenham, realistically, like, the fact that Thomas Frank can just come in and then just school. I know it's Tottenham and it's kind of like their bogey team, but if you actually watch that game, he actually outplayed him. Like it wasn't just the fact that it was Tottenham. He tactically outplayed Pep in that game. And when I look at how they played and how we played, there was no similarities. And I'm thinking to myself, Amorim, you've got a blueprint of how to beat City. It's right in front of you. They beat them comfortably. Like, it was very easy. I'm not saying very easy, but they did beat them. I think it was 2-0 or 3-0, something like that.
Well.
And they played very well. And yes, obviously they played a different formation, but the way how they played, and in terms of like how they were playing against them, in terms of they were pushing them, in terms of like running in behind. They got I think a couple of goals. One that Richarlison set up was because they got in behind that high line that John Stones and the back line was playing. They pressed them man to man. They made sure that they didn't get any space in between the lines in them channels. They did everything that they needed to do. They pressed them high up the pitch, especially when I think it was James Trafford in goal. They knew that it was obviously a new goalkeeper, bit of nerves. He didn't have the best game in terms of playing out. We are playing against Donnarumma. We already know he's not that good at playing out. I said it on the build-up show. We're actually going to get any chances. We should be attacking the ball, pushing them back to get the ball to Donnarumma and forcing him to play it long, because that is a weakness in the team. We didn't do any of that. We didn't do that at all. We literally let them play football in our half and play it in between them little gaps. And obviously, you let City do that. They've got top quality. Some of them are world-class players. They're going to absolutely run through us, and that's exactly what they did. So it just doesn't even make sense tactically how Amorim set up.
Well, that's the thing as well. I think obviously Amorim didn't set up tactically right, but I just don't even think this team does the basics right. Like offset pieces, we look weak. We never look like scoring offset pieces either. Not tracking your runners. I understand, your team shape should be better to not have to maybe be in that position, but still, that's even a basic thing. Making the right decisions in the final third. Crossing, like the basics of the game, like we don't really do them properly. And your manager's been in for 10 months. They should be very well drilled on all of them aspects, and we're just not. So tactically not set up right, and also the whole team in general.
In-game management as well. I would say he's very slow at reacting to situations. Like Mordzs says, we're sat watching that game today. We could tell in the midfield we're getting a bit overrun. React to that. Do something. A lot of people criticise Amorim and say that he doesn't have a plan B. We know what his plan B is. It's Harry Maguire, bringing Harry on for the last 15 minutes, and then if we're really desperate. But the game's gone then, 1-0, I felt like we were still kind of in it, probably playing off hopes and vibes and thinking if we can just get an opportunity.
2-0, I was hoping for us to get one, and if you get one, you never know.
You never know. Goals change games, but I did feel, as I said, if they get a second, I thought that'll be us gone, and it was.
I mean, I'll bring the super chats in first, and then I'll get into that part of it. JB says we don't need 3 centre backs, we need 3 midfielders. Grant Collins says no open play goals, no final delivery, no through balls from midfield, no immediate crosses, no DM, no passion from Amorim from the line. I mean, just an interesting one. We have big struggles in front of goal. This is a stat from Sky Sports. We have failed to score in 13 out of 31 league games under Amorim, and just found the net 36 times. 36 times out of 31 games, we've scored a goal. So we scored 36 goals in 31 games. It's just not enough. Nowhere near enough. Phil Russell says the best coaches in the world are told to adapt the tactics to play different teams. This is why Pep does so well. I'm sorry, but the stubbornness is going to get him sacked without a doubt. I mean, Amorim's even said himself in the pre-match press conference that he thinks Pep is one of the best managers in the world and is the best manager in the league because he changes so much and you never know what you're going to get. We never change, so you always know what you're going to get. Shahin says Amorim is not a strong leader. Ibrahim says I would take Ollie back at this point. Keel says Sporting had 2 penalties. Zlazy says, to be fair, Erik ten Hag would have gotten more out of this squad. And we're not doing revisionism of old managers. Yeah. United Star says Everton has a better defence than us. Infinite says the solution to our problem is no solution. Kobe says miss Martinez so much. Chipperton says Ten Hag got annihilated the first 2 games against Brighton and Brentford, so he went low block, pragmatic and started grinding out results. Amorim could do that, but we'll be back here in 2 years. We already are here. we already are bottom of the barrel, really. Yeah. I don't want to speak too soon because relegation could happen, but we're 15th last season and now we don't look very good either. We're sat in 14th already. You just got to start winning quickly. Max Crow says Xerxes ? Well, I mean, we can talk about that in a second as well. Billy Welt says Beth, your brilliant system with Bruno would get you sacked. We've seen him as a 10 and we never score. He's not even close to our best 10. Dragon Guy says, I'm sorry guys, but the system isn't the problem. Multiple times during the game, instead of pushing forward, our creative players chose the safe option to back pass and not pass it forward, and Bruno isn't an 8. United Star says, January, sell Bruno, buy Belabor and play Manu. Luke says, what formation should we play, Ricky?
What should we play?
Yeah.
4-4-1-1.
How would you set up in a 4-4-1-1?
Well, it's a 4-4-2 really, but one of your strikers has got to be a really hard-working player who drops back into out the midfield. When we're under pressure, basically.
Who would you play in your team?
That's a tricky one. We could do a full show on that.
Do you want a time to have a think about it?
We'll do a full show on that.
Yeah. Dan A says, would any of you take Emery if he gets sacked? No.
Take who?
Emery if he gets sacked? No, I wouldn't.
I would.
Well, if he gets sacked from Villa, doesn't that suggest that he's been sacked for a reason? So why should
he's done a great job at Villa. I wouldn't get carried away with the fact that they've not had a great start. We might be getting carried away that we've not had a great start, but we were crap last year. We were crap last year. They finished in the top 5 or 6 for 2 or 3 seasons in a row.
And he said a honeymoon period.
Big Shot said, mid-table FC, Amorim out. Colm Kelly says, this manager is getting sacked 100%. He has the IQ of a stubborn mule. Jesus. Ooh. Breaks my heart to watch a manager not see what we all see. Salah Ahmed says, I don't think it's the system, it's the players he's picking that makes it work. What makes it worse? Square pegs in round holes. Bruno's an 8, doesn't work, never has. Keel says, high press football is dead. St. Blanco says, Manu is the best player when he came on. Amorim needs to get real and drop his cousin or move him into the 10. We honestly missed Mount and Cunha. We did miss Mount and Cunha.
We missed Mount.
Yeah,
why do we miss Cunha?
I think
Cunha's a good player. I'm not even gonna let
he's a decent player.
People say
we've got loads of good players. Cunha's not. I mean, we played Ahmad as a number 10 and Buemo. We didn't. Cunha's no better.
No,
he's no better than Ahmad.
I think you'd been a bit harsh on Cunha.
No, I think Cunha's a very good player.
He's a good player, but so's Ahmad and so's Buemo.
But I don't think Ahmad had like the greatest game.
No, he didn't have a great game. I get that, but it reminds me of. It reminds me of when Bruno was missing against Palace and we got beat 4-0. Nobody wants to give Palace any credit. They were always going to batter us. It was an electric night at Selhurst Park where we could hardly get a kick of the ball. And there's a saying in football, in pro football, there's good games to miss. And that was a great game to miss. And we were going to get battered, whatever happened. And yet when we got battered, everyone was saying, oh, look at us without Bruno. Same thing today. It was the good game to miss today. Trust me. It's a good game to miss.
I don't think Cunha would have made us win the game, like I said before. I don't think any player in this team would have made us win this game. But Cunha is, like, I don't even see it at his best.
He is a good player. The problem is, all I'm saying, Mords, is I mean, we might not have played Sesko if Cunha was fit, but he's got to come in sometimes, Sesko. We played Ahmad and we played Buemo as the 2 number 10s. Yeah. And Cunha's a good player, but he's not better than any of them.
Just on that, what did you all think of Sesko?
Quiet.
Yeah, he's like that.
It's a difficult game for him, and the pressure now is the exact same pressure that Højlund had at United. And we're all before kick-off, aren't we? Hope Sesko gets a goal. We're desperate for him to get this first goal. And the longer the so-called drought goes on, then obviously stories start getting written, so the pressure is on him. But he must have knew what he was walking into. He's coming to play for Manchester United, huge club. And he is the sort of recognised number 9 in that team now, because obviously Højlund's gone. But I am seeing a few little traits of where I do look back and think similar kind of performances than what Højlund was kind of putting in.
I think for about 3 seasons we've been calling. I think we were calling it the graveyard shift when Martial was playing number 9. Goes that? You know what I mean? We don't create any chances, do we?
You get no
matter who the striker is, there's not enough chances for him.
Yeah, I'm not too mad at Sesko. I'm being honest. I know it was a quiet game for him, but I wouldn't say that it was because of him though. You know what I mean? Like, I
feel sorry for him.
It's
desperate to see him get a goal or 2 and see if his confidence boosts. But I've seen a couple of cameos where he's looked all right, but today he couldn't hardly get in the game at all.
It's a tough game.
I like the run he made between the 2 centre backs in behind. That was a highlight point. But yeah, he couldn't really get in the game. I also don't think he looks absolutely fully fit yet. So hopefully, same with Managerial. I didn't think he looked fully fit, but he was kind of thrust into it.
Sechko's just played. Has he played 2 games midweek in the international break? 2 90-minute games.
I'm not sure on the
sure
minutes,
he did,
but I think he definitely started both games.
That's why I was just thinking, how could you not be fit? That's why once I heard he played them 2 games in the international break, I'm thinking he must be nailed on for the derby. Surely, Amorim couldn't turn around today and say, oh, actually, no, he's not. He's not fully fit. I don't really buy that one.
I'm just going to actually check his minutes on that one.
I'm sure he played 2 games, but it's a difficult game to be thrown into today.
Right, okay, quick one, guys, just to kind of round up the show, and I'll use the super chat to do this as well. We have Phil Russell. Oh no, Phil Russell said, "Would you take Nuno Santos if he's free?" Nuno, Forest manager. Well, ex-Forest manager.
Look, we're not talking about the manager being sacked, are we? If the manager got sacked tomorrow and you said, "Do you want Nuno?" I'd say, yeah, take him.
What's the worst that could happen? It's somebody who knows the Premier League, but at the same time, Amorim, he's still in a job.
Q Studios said, "Would you fire Amorim after a defeat against Chelsea?"
No, it's another tough game, isn't it? Yeah, no. I just said
we always knew it was going to be a difficult start to the season when we've seen the fixtures. But at the end of the day, people were saying it, going, "Oh, we've got Arsenal, we've got City, Chelsea in the first sort of 6 whatever games." I'm like, we've got to play them twice anyway.
By the time we played Chelsea, if we've still only won the one against Burnley, that's the one you expected to win, innit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you looked, yeah.
He did play 90 minutes both games, by the way. And Infinite says, 3 years, no team with a back 3 is in the top 10. I'm sorry, Amorim. Midfielders are more important than defenders, and a man said eras have to come to an end. Thing is, I do think you can, if the system is efficient enough. I think Glasner's doing a great job at Crystal Palace. When Conte was at Chelsea, he won the league, playing that way. But like Ricky said on numerous occasions, they had Kante and Matic playing in midfield, prime
bit
as
of
well.
a difference, yeah.
Like, it's just. I've not seen a team consistently do it. If that's one.
Well, then it comes back to the question: why has he not addressed this? He's had all summer to look at this team. What part of his sort of vision there has he thought Bruno's going to be ideal in this role, and I'm going to play Casemiro or Ugarte with him? And we know that Man United wanted a midfielder because there was talk of Baleba, but why didn't you go and do it then? And if it's a money issue and they're saying that 100 million for him, what they were quoted was a bit high, that could be worth that to Manchester United for what? Getting back into the Champions League or whatever. Yet by not signing this player and addressing a major issue in the team, I just don't get my head round. I didn't particularly think we needed 2 number 10s this summer. I was buzzing when they both come in, but I'm thinking you probably could have got away with signing one of them, then use that 70 million or whatever to go in for the midfielder that you needed. But what do I know, eh?
Class of 99 says, normally like Ricky's takes, but Shawnee's binning, he's absolutely past it and don't want to see him start again. Bruno out of position even when Man Utd came on.
Sure, a bad game.
What do you think to that, Ricky?
He's been the best player he's been the best player in all of the previous games, and he wasn't himself today. I agree.
Yeah, he wasn't good today.
But he's been the best player
today, yeah, very poor.
But
nobody played that well. To be fair.
Hardly anybody played any better than he did.
Hardly
anybody.
Rory C said 31 games into Amorim's reign, 16 losses, 8 wins. Can we just admit it's the manager? It's so.
I wish some
bad.
of the other defenders could pass it like him. You see Shaw's crossfield passing today.
Set him off now.
It's like Bobby Charlton.
You've set him off now. Calazez says, can we put to bed the idea that Luke Shaw is our best player?
Okay.
He said, someone in the chat said, can we put to bed that Luke Shaw is our best player? Like I said, I think he had a really poor game today, but most people did as well.
Yeah.
Is that what we're going with?
Wasn't just.
Can we just all show some love to Khalid in the comments as well? I've seen Khalid super chat in, and I just want to say, obviously, don't let football completely affect your mental health. I know it's hard sometimes. I know a lot of us rely on it, but yeah, please stay strong, and this community will 100% be there for you. So make sure you show some love to Khalid in the chat as well. Right, last but not least, guys, let's just finish it off with this.
Man of the match.
No, we're not even doing that. We're not even doing that.
Dog is alright.
How long does this go on for Amorim?
Oh.
It's just a conversation. How long does it go on for before you think you need to make a change?
Well, hopefully he turns it round.
Yeah. I'm going to say, at this rate, there's no way it's going to be that much longer.
Yeah, I don't really see any light at the end of the tunnel. I will continue to back him and all that. I know that there's people out there that, you know, especially even when you mention the debate of should we sack him, you know, we'll go absolutely crazy. Fair play. You know, there'll be hardcore Reds stood in the Stretford end singing Ruben Amorim, you know, he'll bring the glory days again. And we all hope that, but hope and is, you know, it's quite a strong word, isn't it? Because you're kind of hoping that he does well. And we all want to see him do well, but there does come a time when you start saying the manager really has to question himself. I think we've had loads of arguments. It's the manager, it's the players. Was it the, you know, Amorim's fault the other week against Burnley when Mbumo passes the ball to Ahmad, you know, when he's like, 8 or 9 yards out and he skies it, you know, when we should have been about 3 or 4-0 up at half time. So I can see both sides of the argument. I think we played. I know, but there comes a time now, because I know what you're going to say, is if we do get beat by Chelsea at the weekend now, you start looking at the points return and where the other teams will be in the table and where we're going to be. And it becomes a financial thing.
The week after that.
I got your point about, you know, the fact that we've missed chances, we're not clinical, like Casemiro and Mbumo should have scored today, but at the end of the day, you can't call 8 wins out of 31 a coincidence, and that players just need to score more. Like you've got. It's the running theme is we don't win games, and we don't score goals.
Statistically, we're creating more chances than any other Premier League team, which is absolutely baffling when you look at it. And they reckon roughly about 20 chances a game. We've scored 4 goals this season.
I watched the Burnley game back last week when you talk about chances made, and I don't know where they get these stats from and who creates them, but there was a stat out there going around that Bruno created 6 chances against Burnley. I watched it and I counted 2. I counted 2. I really did count 2. There was a few people who had a shot after he passed it to him, but from stupid positions well, one wasn't from a stupid position, but Bruno had a shot and it just went to him. So that's not showing that you're a good player. That's a poor piece of play.
We've spoken about them manipulated stats before.
There was 2 chances. There was the free kick that Casemiro, where did he get into bar? It came back and it went in for an own goal. So that was a chance created. And then there was the corner kick that Ahmad had a volley from, and the keeper made an half decent save. So he made 2 chances, and they were both from dead balls. We need to start making some chances, but genuine chances from open play.
Well, our next 3 games before the international break is Chelsea at home, Brentford away and Sunderland at home.
You can only see one win, can't you?
He has to beat Brentford away and Sunderland away, and Sunderland at home, but both them games won't be easy.
I'd bite your hand off for 5 points, 2 draws and then a win.
If he doesn't get a win out of them 3, do you think that'll be curtains?
You'll be kind of coming up. You're looking at like the 10-game mark, really, aren't you? And again, it has to come.
We've played
the
4
football
so
inside.
far, but we've got 3. If we play them 3, we'll have played 7 games. If we get 3 points out of them 3 games, like you just said, we've got to win one of them. Sunderland, we've got to win, beat Sunderland. But if we were to draw all 3 of them games, we'd be on 7 points out of 7 games, won't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got to get more than that. We've got to get more.
Start winning some games, don't we?
Yeah. And my thing is as well with that, like, so far this season, what we drew against Fulham, pretty like iffy game. We didn't really dominate the whole game, but we got a point somehow. Beat Burnley just about, last minute penalty. Obviously lost to Arsenal, played all right, but again didn't end up winning. Like, we could probably go through these next 3 games and maybe even win 2 or 3 of them, or get a couple of points or whatever, but struggle very much in every single game. To me, that's still the same problems. Like, it doesn't really change my mind. It's just like, okay, we got the points, but we're still struggling. It's the same thing that's going on.
Also, as well, it's like Brentford's an away game. It's going to be really difficult, but we've not won in 7 away games. I want to see a win in that. Like, 8 away games that a win's just not okay.
It comes down as a financial decision as well, because Ineos have to look at it. You know, you talk about, I hate football clubs being sort of labelled as a business, but for the sake of that, if this is their business, Ineos, They've invested a hell of a lot of money in it. If it's not working, I'm sure they would have not banked on this season, but they would have wanted United to at least bare minimum return into some form of European football. Obviously, we want to be in the Champions League, but let's be realistic for a moment. We're probably looking at Europa or Conference League, the way things are going. But
if you're lucky.
Well, I know I might have set the bar a bit high there, but of course it'll come to a point where they'll have to look and say, well, we need to make a change right now to save the season. Because we know it all comes down to money, prize money of being in these tournaments. The way things are going at the minute, we won't even... We're not in Europe this season. We might not be in it next season.
Keel Robinson's to end on this one. Keel Robinson with a super chat saying Dan Ashworth was right. Anyway, Anyway, let's see how things pan out. We've gone way over there because we just can't stop talking United. We're all frustrated. We all want us to win every game. We all want us to win the biggest prizes. But at the end of the day, sometimes you've just got to look at the cold hard truth in the mirror and face it, and you've got to acknowledge it. And you can't live in a delusional world. For me as well, it's just sometimes things go so far gone, it's hard to really change the tide because there's so many different aspects that you've got to then change and get right, and the belief from there's loads of things that go with it. Like when you're on this track for such a long time, it really is hard. Arteta has done it, so there is someone who has done it out there. I hope Ruben Amorim massively can turn it around. I hope we win against Chelsea and we never look back. But there's a lot that needs to be improved upon, a lot, and time is ticking. But look, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you to all of the comments. Thank you for all the super chats as well. Any last words from anyone?
Just hope we can get 3 points against Chelsea.
Fingers crossed.
I'll take one though.
Yeah. And what do we all think? Do we think we'll get a point? 3-0?
The way I have to play at the minute, and I always call it Ruben roulette, when the team comes out, because there always seems to be a wild card thrown in, but I would have to see how the team's set up. If he's going to set it up exactly like it was today, it's complete and utter madness, especially against Chelsea again. You'll know exactly what's coming, so I will not understand it at all. The personnel in that team, it needs to be changed.
I'll predict a draw.
Yeah, I'm going to go with
I predict a riot.
A 1-1. Anyway, on that note, have a lovely Sunday, everyone. I'm sorry that you had to witness that Manchester United performance, but I hope we gave you some solace in the fans forum. Thank you for you all tuning in and staying with us for another therapy forum. Have an amazing week, and I will see you on the next one.